Shahid, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
It's my privilege, I think. It's wonderful to be in an ocean of South Asians, and innovation is almost synonymous, and so I'm delighted to be here.
It's a very inspiring story for many of us. You come from a middle-class background, Pakistan. You came here at the age of 16, and what you've achieved is, mind-boggling for many people. I want to start, from the point where, as a teenager, when you come to a country like US, which enormous potential, enormous opportunities, you see nothing but potential. Did you, growing up, because of the huge American meritocracy, did you envision that one day you will be a big entrepreneur?
No, I never did. I mean, I had no idea, but this is a great country, and I think South Asia, whether it's India or Pakistan, I mean, we're very blessed. I think we have a very nurturing environment with our parents, obviously our families, our support system, they instill the right values in us. And then you mix that in with the U.S., and it's almost an unbeatable combination. But I just, I came here to better myself, and my parents sacrificed, obviously, for me to have this opportunity, and then, it's been beyond my wildest dreams.
I'll cover the last aspect first. When you achieve such amounts of fame and fortune, and it is sometimes, or most of the times rather, gets very difficult to have your feet firmly on the ground, especially when you're raising a family. How do you try to do this to achieve a balance in life?
Well, I think the most important thing is the only legacy we're going to leave is our kids. So I think from day one, things that worked for me, that worked for my wife, who also comes from a very middle-class American background, it was we want to educate the kids. And you've got to keep in mind, business, you have ups and downs. You can be successful one day, and the U.S. is a great example. It's great to achieve, but there's no status quo. You have to fight just as hard just to maintain. So you give the kids right values, right education, and then, they're going to be on their own. They're going to be tested like we are. But the business I was in, auto parts, I still am in. I love it. It's a very humbling business. So you're constantly, you have to innovate or you're not going to be around.
You own Jacksonville Jaguars, you own Fulham in UK. These are businesses that put you at the forefront of public perception. These are very passionate games for both the regions and both the people across the ponds. When you're engaged with the audience at this level, there's a lot of charisma that comes with the personality that you bring as the owner. How do you address these challenges?
Well, I've got to tell you, I think, I was in auto parts. I had a great business, had 17,000 employees. Nobody knew me, nobody cared. Okay. So you buy an American football team, and everybody knows it. And then, obviously, with Fulham, it's a different audience. So, I mean, I had no idea that there is a huge public component that goes with it. But once you're in the sport, you recognize you have, responsibility to the supporters, to the fans, and you have to do your best to communicate with them and then, stabilize the teams and move them to the future.
I have another question that I always wanted to ask you, is when you go to London and you go to New York and you're in Florida, these are traditional businesses. So with money comes a lot of opulence. When it comes to Silicon Valley, there's a lot of wealth here too. But the opulence is not visible as compared to other places. It's more about giving back, empowering the ecosystem. That is your legacy, like you said at the beginning, to your family, but also to the society in general. So when you face these challenges, when you are with the society which looks up to these kind of opulent lifestyle, how do you then face those challenges and still try to be who you are as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a brother, and as a friend?
Well, I mean, the stage in life, I got the recognition, maybe it's, my value system was set. With all due respect, I don't have to please anybody, but I have to do what I think is right. And So, nothing's really changing. I mean, other than the fact that so I don't have to, God willing, impress anybody. I do what I think is the right thing, and we've had, long before this, what the civic responsibility is. We've been very active in the communities we've been, and done our part. So, and quite frankly, the opulence is very old-fashioned. I mean, I don't, see a lot of people who take pride in that. But on the other hand, there are certain comforts you enjoy just that make you more efficient and make your life easier.
And to take you to the entrepreneurial question, Flex and Gate has been very engaged with the automotive industry, especially Detroit area.
Well, Detroit, Japan, and Germany, and so we have customers all over the world.
When you started out, it always looks very small, addressing a very niche market, but it grew to where I think most people haven't thought, it would grow this way. So I wanted to ask you to share with us a couple of anecdotes along the journey where you felt, this was the right moments of opportunity that I should take.
Well, it's automotive business unless you're selling a retail product. I think you are, behind the scenes. And there's virtually, no vehicle made in Europe or the U.S. we wouldn't have parts in. So we contribute. We're making people's life better. It's just people don't know it. But I think for us, it's come a step at a time. And when I started a guy in a garage, it was one product. And then as we've grown, it's how do we get into areas we're not in? How do we innovate? It's a hyper competitive business. It's looked upon as kind of old-fashioned, but it affects everybody. To me, it's been you have to invest in people. And the big breakthrough that came for me was I was basically, I did everything myself. And the day came where I was able to understand to get to the next level, you have to find the right people and then you have to move forward.
So human resource is a big component of the industry that you are in.
I think human resource is a big component of every industry. I think whether we're here in Silicon Valley or whether you're in football or auto parts, I think recognizing that really the most important asset you have is brain power, people. I mean, that's the most important asset of any company. And how you find them, you nurture them, you train them, that's the difference between success and failure.
Even in your industry, like you said, in any industry, you have to constantly innovate. I'm trying to learn from you how innovation takes place and how you incorporate innovation in big businesses like yours.
Well, I started out, with a process that made the part be, replaced a number of parts with one part. That had many advantages. It made the part lighter, was better corrosion, looked better aesthetically. So, but in our business, when you sell a product to a car company, you give them all the intellectual property. So they do that because they want to control their supply, and that is a tenant of the business. So once you get started, you've given the intellectual property rights. You don't have any claim, patents, or otherwise. So to get the business for the new generations, you've got to be able to come up with better ideas and keep that going.
Talking about transitioning, there are two challenges for big businesses. One is transitioning to the next generation of executives, and the challenge is to transition to the next generation of the family. How do you see both components play in your business?
Well, I think they are really related but unrelated. I don't think, and I told my children that they have a right just because they might be my kids to destroy livelihood for 17,000 families. We want to have the best people. You can't mix management with ownership, leadership with ownership. They're two distinct things. So the best people have to come together.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it much.